Hey, how's everyone doing? If you can hear me okay, please type in the chat. Let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and get going here. Your X factor is your success factor. How to position your brand and deposition your competition. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Who I am, to give you a little background on who's talking to you about this information I'm trying to deliver. My name is Terone Allen, pronounced Terone. I'm the founder and creative director of Taterverse. I've been a professional in creative agencies for 15 years, working in print and digital design projects for large Fortune 500 companies, um, international, national, and even local companies as well. I've also been a freelance photographer and videographer in the events industry for the past 6 years, kind of freelancing at the same time. There's an overlap in there. I was, daylighting as a graphic designer with my day job, and then night lighting as a photographer and videographer for events in the Atlanta area. Um, in 2019, quit the day job, founded Taterverse as a brand consultancy, and kind of took all those things that I've been doing in my career as one big package that we can do and provide brand strategy for event professionals. So who are you? If you are in and visiting this presentation and watching this right now, you are most likely one of these things. You are a business owner. I'm preparing to find some growth in 2022. We're up in Q4, coming up on Q1, and that's a big place to be. Or you're an entrepreneur, you're facing a flooded market. There's a ton of us out there now, especially after the past couple of years with what's been going on. Everybody's starting their businesses now. They've got the motivation to do it. You are an influencer or a thought leader, you have a personal brand that you try to try to maintain. And so, or you are a 9 to 5er. You presently have a day job, like myself, I mentioned earlier, and then you're getting prepared to make that leap and take on your business on your own. Or you are just curious and you want to learn something. You want to soak up all the knowledge you can. I do that myself. I visit summits like this one and just take in all the information that I can. Or you're all of the above. Sometimes we wear all of these hats. I've done all of those things at one time myself. And as a business owner, a lot of times, especially if we're solopreneurs, we are doing all the things. The main objectives that I want to make sure that we get across today in this presentation are three main things. Understanding what positioning is and what depositioning is. Understanding the value in your X factor and what that means, that thing that makes you special and unique and different from all of the other brands out there, especially the ones particularly in your market and where you stand and where you fit in. And then being ready to begin the work of positioning your brand. Once you have an understanding, of what positioning and depositioning is, and understanding the value of your X factor and how that can affect what you do, you should be ready to and excited to begin the work of positioning your brand. So speaking about your brand, what is your brand? If I could in the chat, if anybody has any thoughts on one or two words that can let us know, what is your brand? What defines your brand? Any ideas? We can go to the word of supreme thought leader in the brand space, Marty Neumeier. A brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. A lot of times we get the idea that a brand is our logo, it is our colors, it is all these things, how we talk. Um, but when it comes down to it, um, the brand is going to be what people get out of those things that you present. So the brand is basically going to be a thing that's kind of fluctuating between um, the market and what the market says you are. So all these things, let's see, Tanya said your uniqueness, your business culture, core values, how you show up and are perceived. The key thing in what you said, Tanya, is how you are perceived. That is going to be what your brand is because technically you can do none of those things and still have a brand. You can not do anything to try to be unique. You can do anything to identify what your culture is going to be, and that's going to be reflected on what people think of you. They're going to see that lack of that kind of stuff, and then that's going to define what your brand is. See, Rick says, my brand is defined by what my clients perceive the value I provide them. Yes, yes. So, I mean, you can have this idea of what you're doing and that you're giving everything great, and you have this great brand, but ultimately, it's going to be what your clients perceive and what they get out of that. That's going to be their experience and how they feel about it is going to be what defines your brand. So basically, your brand is going to be your reputation. It's going to be what they feel and then what they say. And of course, that's going to fall into what they say to their friends, their neighbors, review boards, and anything people think and say about you. So why is positioning so important in this discussion of your brand? Positioning is the core of your brand. And let's remember, your brand is your reputation. Your positioning will be the strategic stance that you take to identify your brand. How you position yourself and what you do strategically and with intention is going to identify your brand and what your brand is, and your brand being your reputation, what people feel about you. If you fail to successfully position yourself, as I mentioned before, the people will do it for you. Or worse, your competition will help you do that. That's the last thing you want. Because when that happens, you've just been depositioned. And I'm going to ask you to remember this image that you see. We're going to come back to this image. It's going to be a very important point made with that one right there. So should your competition define your reputation? Is that something that any of you want? Yeah, that's going to be a no for me, dog. So the question then becomes, how can I successfully position myself? And a thing that I love to do, there's case studies. There's things you can look at how other people have done it successfully in the past, especially with larger brands and more popular brands. You can look at them, everybody's familiar with them, and it's something that we can see and use as an example of what can be done, what has been done, and what has been done successfully. So popular brands with successful positioning. We're going to look at three of them. I'm sure you're going to recognize these. This one right here. Everybody probably has this in their home. Netflix. Their X factor, the thing that they provide, convenience. They have allowed a way for DVD to be delivered to the home. They have brought streaming on demand to the home. What they have done is position themselves as being convenient and allowed themselves to take control of a market there. The next one we're going to look at, Chick-fil-A. What are you? I don't know if Chick-fil-A has reached Maryland at all. I'm not sure where you are located. Rick, are you familiar with the Chick-fil-A brand? And if so, what is your perception of them? Chick-fil-A brand has a very strong popularity for being the best customer service when it comes to fast food. They are above and beyond. They go above and beyond with their service, with what they provide for you. So their X factor is being exceptional service. They're fast and friendly. The customers always feel cared for. They usually have minimal errors. You hardly are having to take anything back or have anything missing in your bag when you leave. If it is, it gets fixed immediately. And then, of course, when they have this thing when you leave and you tell them thank you, they say my pleasure. It's become a thing that everybody kind of harps on, that they're so pleasant and happy. It can be almost cultish at times. The next brand we're going to look at, Apple. Apple has done a lot of things over the past couple of decades, but one thing that they have done to be their X factor to stand out is being trendsetters. They're for the sleek and the hip. They are for the artists and change makers. Contrary to the um, the PC brands, if you remember the old ads when they had the two guys standing on the screen, one is saying I'm a Mac and one is saying I'm a PC, and the PC guy was all, buttoned up and stuffy and not cool. And they clearly marked themselves as the brand of computer, of personal computing, for the cool people, the trendsetters. Tanya says she agreed. Talking about Chick-fil-A, polite, friendly, closed on Sundays, can be for religious reasons, but also see it as an opportunity to give their employees time off with their families. Yes. So of these three brands, where did they position themselves? Where's the place that they position themselves when it comes to comparison of what their competition is doing? Let's look again. With their X factors of Netflix being convenience, X factor of Chick-fil-A being that's exceptional service, and the X factor of Apple being trendsetters. Where were they compared to others? Who else was doing this? Who else were doing these things in these markets? Nobody, as Keith Sweat would say. Nobody was doing these things. They differentiated and they were alone in the market. So when they did this, the competition was no competition. So when they went a different path, even in a flooded market, as many fast food chains as were out there, as many providers of DVD rentals that were out there at the time, Blockbuster was one, not anymore. They had Redbox coming out, still trying to provide convenience. And you had the other local places. There were movie galleries around this location. I'm sure there were a lot of more local ones um, in different locations around the U.S. But Netflix made a difference with shipping DVDs, and then they went to the streaming service. And Apple was the one that really honed in on focusing on one type of computer, one type of product, one type of phone, one type of MP3 player that really just made made their market, their target market, the trendsetters, the cool, something sleek, something cutting edge, and making a difference. And so when nobody else was doing these things, then they were the only ones doing it. They had no competition in that area. Same with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was the only one that was really putting that exceptional service out there. All the fast food places, you can look at them and you can see the difference not only in the service you get, but you can see the difference in the employees and how they felt working there. So remember this image. When we were looking at this, we were talking about being depositioned. And the question being, who was actually being depositioned in this image? Was it the swans or was it the yellow rubber ducky? Were Netflix, Chick-fil-A, and Apple in this image? Any guesses in the chat? Let's zoom in. Bam. They are the yellow rubber ducky. They're the ones that use an X factor to stand out differently from all of the other swans in the lake. When they do that, they become easily recognized and remembered. So your X factor is going to be what you do well and what your competition doesn't do at all. That's going to be where you stand, and that's going to be what makes you stand out from everybody else, because there is nobody else doing that thing that you do. If you're the only one doing it, who can compete with you? With that, are there any questions about what I just said here? A little time for some Q&A. If you would like to hop on the request to hop on the mic, I should be able to do that if you make it quicker than typing. And here's some information. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me at Here Comes Terone on all platforms: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You can also visit Taterverse.com to find out more about our brand consultancy.
Hi, Terone.
Hey, Terone.
I'm hearing a little echo thing. Are you aware of that?
I am not hearing. I'm not aware of it, and I'm not hearing one
Okay,
on my
so
end.
let me call. Hopefully, it's not me. Okay. So no, it's not me. So I'll come out and leave you.
Okay.
Were you speaking?
Not at the moment. I'm doing a Q&A right now.
Okay. All right.
See, Rick says, I recall Dan Kennedy once said, to become a brand, you can hustle many prospect, you better have a large bag of money. That's very helpful. Money is always helpful in anything. Let's be honest. Money can do a lot for you. But when it comes down to it, branding and becoming a successful brand can be basically how you operate and what you do that dictates and manages how people perceive you. You can easily become a brand just by becoming successful and having a strong brand, just sitting on social media and answering people's questions, regardless of who they are, regardless of what they've done. A great example is on Twitter, there's a Hilton hotel that actually sat in, I want to say it was either Arizona or Utah, somewhere out in the Midwest, where they actually just responded to everybody's questions. Their Twitter handle was like Hilton Helps, and they just responded to everybody's help. Even people that were out of town would come in town and they'd ask questions on Twitter. Where can I find the nearest restaurant? Where can I find the nearest place close to my hotel? And their hotel wasn't even a Hilton hotel. And when they responded and gave that information, for one, they gained a new follower, for someone that they helped. Even if it was somebody that didn't stay at their hotel, they helped them, and so they just became that friendly neighborhood provider of information about the area. So anybody that came in the area would go to them for information, for help, regardless of what they were. And so that way their brand became not only top of mind, but what's even stronger is friend of mine. If type that out, the sound can be different, not mind, but mine, friend of mine. Being friend of mine is more powerful than being top of mind, because think about it, when you can think of your favorite restaurant, um, or let's talk about hotels. Your favorite hotel. If you have this favorite hotel that you think of in your mind, but let's say a friend of yours or a family member comes to you and tells you this great experience about another hotel, that hotel may stick in your mind a little bit more as well. Especially if that suggestions, or especially if even stronger, if they have a bad experience at the hotel that is your favorite hotel, that may have more weight on your thoughts of that hotel sometimes. And then you'll take suggestions from those people that are close to you, that you care about, that are friends, and give information to you. So, and that costs them nothing but time to do something like that. So money, of course, money, no matter what it is, money can help you be successful in doing a lot of things. But it's not necessarily the thing you need to be successful. It's always going to come down to work and hard work and how much effort you put into something. Do we have any other questions? Do feel free to reach out to me on social media. Also, in this platform, you can see my LinkedIn information, social media information, and then also I have a free download to offer here. You can visit us in the Expo booth to find the Tataverse booth and get this access to this download. But this is a free guide to help you transform how you build your brand. 3 marketing strategies that you can implement today. And I thank you all for your time and attendance and attention. And I hope what you've heard here has been helpful.